This week on Talking Pictures, we'll look at a new live-action version of Disney's Aladdin, starring Will Smith, a new documentary about infamous automaker John DeLorean, and we'll check out a recent biopic about legendary ballet dancer Rudolf Nureyev, along with my interview with its director and star, Ralph Fiennes. Plus, a look at a whole host of films coming your way with our summer movie preview. We've got all that and many more movie picks coming up. I'm Neil Rosen. Welcome to Talking Pictures. It's our monthly Critics Roundtable show where we debate what's worth watching and what's not when it comes to new releases, hidden gems, and Hollywood classics. Joining me today are Chris Nashawaty from Entertainment Weekly, Lisa Rosman from Signs and Sirens, and Bill McCuddy from Gold Derby. Now let's start out with a look at a few films hitting theaters this month, beginning with Aladdin. It's Disney's new live-action remake of their classic animated feature from 1992. This time with Will Smith as the genie. Let's take a look at a clip.
Hey, can you make me a prince?
There is a lot of gray area in make me a prince. I could just make you a prince.
Oh, no.
Right, you'll be snuggled up with that dude for the rest of your life.
Y'all see my palace?
Be specific with your words. The deal is in the detail.
Got it.
Which I don't really understand, because if she already likes you, why change?
I told you, she has to marry a prince.
I just want to go home, man.
Okay.
Chris, tell us about Aladdin.
Yeah, it's 2 months after Dumbo, the latest Disney live-action remake that no one really needed. We get Aladdin, which is slightly better than Dumbo, but not by a lot. It's directed by Guy Ritchie, who's a very stylish filmmaker. So it really moves, and Will Smith is, you know, he does the rapping genie thing a little bit, and he's not going to make anyone forget about Robin Williams, but that's a tough bill to fill. I think he does well enough in this, but really the movie is just sort of, the biggest problem is why exactly. This is not a movie that needed to be remade. The original's a classic.
Yep.
Just leave it be.
Yeah, I agree.
It wasn't as dreadful as I'd feared, but I was kind of struck by the problematics in 2019 of setting a family fairy tale in a region that is so vilified by the U.S. I mean, the answer seemed to create this sort of fantasy Arabia with as few references to things like Islam as possible. And I kept thinking,
I don't think that's the point of the
well,
movie.
I get that, but this is still America.
It's a Disney movie.
I get it, and this is still America. Like, you know what I mean? This is still America.
Well,
this
did
is
you
still
like
a
the
charged
movie?
moment. Like I said, I wasn't as dreadful as I feared.
Phil?
Here's the problem for me. Will Smith is obviously operating under the ghost of Robin Williams, and that's problem A. And problem B, for the first like 20 minutes of this movie, he doesn't look that comfortable as the genie. He literally looks like he's learning as he's going here. And that to me was a little annoying. The other thing is that a few people can't really sing until the end of the movie, and then they seem to all find their voices. I don't love this film.
I've seen that original, you know, with my kid when she was younger, hundreds of times. Nobody, like you said, Chris, can step into the shoes of Robin Williams.
I'm in the mood to help you, dude. You ain't never had a friend like me.
But if you're going to do a live-action remake, which they're doing with all of their films, this was not bad. I mean, you can't replace Robin Williams. Will Smith did an okay job. The two leads were fine. I didn't think Never Had a Friend Like Me number, you know, lived up to the Robin Williams version, but the Prince Ali number and the A Whole New World, yeah. I thought that was nice when they were flying on the magic carpet with the real sets of
You hear the words you're using? Not that bad, nice, okay, pretty good, no Robin Williams. I mean,
if you've never seen the original
this is
film,
faint praise.
If you've never seen the original film, if you're a kid, I think you'll be wowed by the thing, and I think you'll like it.
I want to rub a lamp and wish for a better movie.
I would recommend it. Yes, the original's better. All right, let's talk about a new movie called The Sun Is Also a Star, Bill.
This is one of those, it only happens in the movies where everyone meets cute and there are a ton of coincidences that you're either going to buy into and like or not buy into and hate. So I have to say that despite some dopey dialogue, I actually enjoyed this thing by the time it was done. Yara Shahadi and Charles Melton are the two who meet cute when he spots her in Grand Central Station. He says he can make her fall in love within a day, which is all she's got because her family's being deported to Jamaica the next day. Trump will love this movie for a while. John Leguizamo doesn't have much to do here, but he's fine. And the look and the production design is clever, so I'm giving it a thumb up.
Really? Well, we don't do thumbs up here, but you
I do.
the movie.
Emotionally, he does.
All right, Chris, what do you think of this thing?
I didn't like it as much as Bill. I mean, I thought it's a YA movie, and it's got all the pitfalls that come with that. It's really sappy. I liked that the leads were people of color and that it gave it a slightly new spin, but it really falls into all the cliches that these movies generally have. I didn't really dig it very much. I don't know that I'd recommend it.
All right, Lisa?
Well, this movie's strength is its weakness, which is that it's charming and it's pretty and it's inoffensive. Like, the chemistry between the two leads is lovely, the cinematography is lovely. I liked that it depicted New York City teenager dilemmas that you don't usually get to see on screen. Also, New York City neighborhoods you don't usually see on screen. But the dialogue is wicked cheesy. And the coda of an ending for this movie, like, it should have ended before it ended. You know, it was kind of a travesty.
Okay, I couldn't stand the movie. I agree with you. The dialogue is so sappy. One of the big problems for me in this movie is the two leads have no chemistry, which is a real problem.
I don't agree with that.
that.
I don't agree with that. That
You
you're
just
wrong
don't
about.
know from chemistry, right, Bill?
In some neighborhoods, apparently.
Well, they shoot on Roosevelt Island. I guess that's a...
In Queens.
Yeah, that's a thing you don't often see in film. But listen, the screening that I was at, the audience was unintentionally laughing at some of this dialogue. That's how bad it was. This whole guy who's like, oh, it's fate, and you know, I just don't think he put it over. I didn't believe any of this.
I don't know that we're the demographic for this movie, though, to be honest with you.
Well, that's it. If you're 10 to 14, I
yeah.
think you'll like the movie, but we're not, so
Right.
so there you go.
I mean, I like it.
Anyway,
We
let's
are.
take a look at another new theatrical film. This one's a coming-of-age high school comedy called Booksmart. Lisa, tell us about it.
Well, this is the debut feature from actress Olivia Wilde. I had no idea what to expect, and it turns out that this coming-of-age female comedy, written, I might add, by 4 women, I think is destined to be the high school comedy for the Z generation. It's that good. Beanie Feldstein and Caitlin Dever play Ivy League-bound best friends who realize on the eve of their graduation that their peers who also got into schools actually had a good time during high school, unlike them. So they decide to make up for lost time. That's the premise, but the identity politics around race and gender and sexuality are smoothly folded into the storyline in a way that doesn't usually happen. So it ends up being funny and super clever without reducing anyone to a stereotype or a villain. I love this movie.
You got to be kidding me. First of all,
What?
It was
What?
terrible. Okay,
What?
it's super bad. Meets Animal House. Meets a dozen other movies that are just
Except
like
that
it and
it's-
not done as well. The only thing that's good about this movie that I liked was the fact that there's females in the lead, but the material does not serve them
May
at
I
all.
point out how many Holocaust movies you will give a pass just because you
Look,
like the genre?
I give
There's nothing
credit-
wrong with
I
fitting
give-
into a genre.
I give credit to director Olivia Wilde for tackling material that you wouldn't think that she would tackle, but I thought this was just so obvious and so, oh, come on. I mean, like
know what?
vomiting on other people. It's just stupid.
Oh my
Chris.
God, literally,
I'm
that's
with-
every comedy.
I'm with Lisa on this one. I thought it was pretty good. I really enjoyed it. I thought the 2 leads were great. And yeah, I mean, it's derivative. It is a female Superbad.
But there's nothing wrong with
But
that.
I don't.
Wrong with the
That's
genre.
a good
That's
thing.
Oh
not
my gosh.
necessarily a negative thing.
I think this is the runaway hit of the summer.
Oh,
I
come
think
on.
it's one of the best
What he
movies
said.
of this genre. And yeah, we've been in this world before, but this one, to me, is like a load of fun. I loved all these people, and I went for a great ride with them that night. And I showed up at graduation the next
And-
morning
and Carrie
in a
Fisher's
super hot
daughter
car.
is in this too,
Yeah.
by the way, and she's
good.
She's so funny.
And
What is-
Beanie Feldstein, I have to say, I mean, I think she sort of
She looks
made
like
her
a female
debut
Jonah Hill.
That's Jonah Hill's
No,
sister.
and she was in Lady Bird, and she stole
Yeah,
her
she's
scenes
great.
there. Here she gets
good.
the limelight, and I think that she nails it. I think she's a real star.
I think
Panel says yes, and Neil, get a clue.
All right, moving on. The White Crow is the story of legendary Russian ballet dancer Rudolf Nureyev with a concentration on his attempts to defect to the West in 1961 despite the KGB's efforts to stop him. Playing Nureyev is real-life ballet dancer Oleg Ivanko, who never acted before this film, and it was directed by Ralph Fiennes, who also plays Nureyev's mild-mannered teacher Alexander Pushkin. We see Nureyev's rise from humble beginnings to become one of the stars of the heralded Soviet ballet company. He's a moody genius who has anger fits, is mean to people he's closest to, and longs for freedom so that he can pursue his art his way. Bill, what do you think of this movie?
Look, this is a good movie, not great. I mean, it's interesting because, as Fiennes has said, he was more interested in young Nureyev when he became young and then wanted to defect. I don't know that much about the guy, so I wanted to know more, so it left me a little wanting.
Biopics about artists are hard to make compelling, and this one is not compelling. I mean, the subject here is chilly and distant and supercilious, and the film team seems to take
Supercilious.
Yep, it's a $10 word for you, Neil.
There
and
you go.
the film seems to take its sort of tonal cues from that. I'm not a fan.
I thought it was okay. I didn't love it. I thought the dancing was great, and I wish there was more of it. The guy who plays Nureyev is
Oleg Ivanko.
He's a first-time actor, and
Couldn't tell.
He's a much better dancer than he is an actor. But Ralph Fiennes as his teacher, I thought, gives a really great sort of understated performance. There's stuff to like in here, especially the dancing scenes.
I think Oleg Ivanko is a first-time actor. I thought he was terrific. I thought the thing was interesting. I learned a lot about Nureyev, and when it becomes a thriller at the end, when he's trying to, escape and defect, and having a lot of problems, I thought it was a good thriller. So I do recommend the film. And I sat down with Ralph Fiennes to talk about The White Crow. Let's take a look at that interview. If I'm not mistaken, this is your third directorial effort. So out of all the stories that you could have told, why did you choose to tell this one?
I came across the story of the young Rudolf Nureyev when I read the first chapters of a new biography about 20 years ago. And it stayed with me. At that time, I had no conscious desire to direct, and I think I've been moved by this story of a young Russian boy's determination to realize themselves as a dancer coming from a very poor background in central Russia with a sort of really strong, almost messianic desire to become an artist, a performing artist, a dancer. When I first read the description of his defection at Le Bourget Airport, I just thought, this is a film.
Now, there are a bunch of recent notable films that you might have missed when they were either in theaters or now they're streaming or on demand, and one of those is called Framing John DeLorean. Bill, let's talk about it.
All right, well, this guy had it all, right? I mean, he was like movie star good looking. He was running General Motors almost until he wrote like a Jerry Maguire kind of a little diatribe, and he got kicked out. Then they named a car after him that gets immortalized in Back to the Future.
He named the car after
Of course, I'm teasing. What the point is, this is a guy that had it all and kind of blew it when he tried to make a drug deal. And this is the interesting story of a guy like Tucker who has an idea for a car and goes out and actually makes it happen. Then when he needs the money, he has to resort to a big sting operation that brings him down. What's interesting about this and what they try and do is add a new addition to it or a new wrinkle to it with Alec Baldwin and Josh Charles and some other people who reenact some of the things that happened in DeLorean's life. That would be okay, except all of the things they reenact have already been produced on some kind of film. There's tons and tons and tons of footage here. So I really didn't need this extra element of Alec Baldwin and the other people.
I agree with you completely. This reenactment thing, first of all,
But I still recommend the movie because there's lots of interesting stuff about DeLorean in it.
Well, this would have been better without the reenactments. It's a 40-minute thing. But not only do they show you reenactments with Alec Baldwin, who's, even though it takes me out of the movie because it's Alec Baldwin, but there's also another piece of this where they show you him getting the prosthetics on, and he talks about not only do you see him in reenactments as DeLorean, you see him in scenes where I'm going to play DeLorean. How am I going to do this? And it's all too distracting to me.
It's obvious that they did that because they had to provide filler, and the reason.
But they didn't need filler. It's almost 2 hours long.
No, but the reason I think that they did is because the film is obviously so reverential to its subject, and I think that was probably because the only way they could make this movie, and they've failed to make it so many times, and the only way they could access information to it was by including footage and being deferential to his obviously super traumatized kids. So I don't feel like the movie really digs in. They're acting like he's such a good guy throughout the whole film, and I feel
the kids don't love him.
No, they do love him. They just pity themselves for having lost money. So it's this weird movie where I feel like the actual story of DeLorean isn't here.
Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I think the movie's trying to be a little too clever for its own good. It's not really a documentary. It's not really a feature film. It's sort of somewhere in between, and it gets lost. I think DeLorean's got such a great story. Just leave it at that. Tell it like a documentary, even if it's shorter. Get Alec Baldwin out of it.
Yeah.
And just, it doesn't need to be as ambitious as it is. I hate to say that because I'm all for ambition, but it's too much.
It read like an infomercial.
All right, so moving on. Chris, there's a movie called Extremely Wicked, Shocking, Evil, and Vile. And why don't you tell everybody about that movie?
Yeah, this is a movie about serial killer Ted Bundy, and it's told from the point of view of his longtime girlfriend, who knew a different side of him, and only too late sort of realized that she was living with and in love with someone who was a monster. Zac Efron plays Bundy, and he's very good. I thought he was surprisingly good. And Lily Collins plays his girlfriend. It's a good movie. I was pleasantly surprised by it. There's not a lot of graphic stuff in it, which I was a little concerned about watching it. Like, do I really want to? This is going to turn my stomach, and It actually is pretty light on the grisly stuff.
There's hardly any grisly
Yeah,
stuff.
so I thought it was pretty well done. It was a little dry, and you know, it wasn't a straight A, but you know, it was solid, worth watching.
Okay, this movie would have worked if Zac Efron had managed to provide us with some hints or some shadows of the dark part of Bundy earlier on. He plays the movie so straight, as such a straight good guy, that essentially it's like a generic soap opera about a love that's gone wrong. Like if he, essentially, I do blame the failings of this film on him, because there's just not enough shadow in his performance as a sort of hint of what he really is.
Okay, well I'm very surprised to hear that from you, because this entire movie, as Chris said, is from the point of view of the actress Lily Collins, who plays his girlfriend, and she sees him as this, she wants to believe that he's innocent. She believes
I understand that. Nonetheless, it's a boring film without it.
Okay, I don't think so. I mean, like, he's depicted in her eyes, and that's how you're seeing the movie, as like Ozzie Nelson, if Bill will get on my case for an old reference from Ozzie and Harriet, as this like ideal kind of guy. But I thought that was interesting, and I think Zac Efron was terrific in this particular
I actually
role.
read the book that this is based on, and one of the things that they failed in is that she does have a sense early on. But one thing is, she's the one who calls him in. She's the one who sees enough weirdness going on that she sees that something.
Well, we learn
wrong
that.
with
We
him.
learn all of that.
I understand
I think
that. So we should have seen a little more in his performance.
I thought it was very interestingly produced and written, so that we don't know. I mean, obviously we knew the guy was guilty, but we're allowed to be sucked into the same world that she was sucked into for a long, long time.
Plus,
and I thought that was the strength of the film.
Plus,
and Zac Efron's amazing.
The thing that that's always made Ted Bundy different from other serial killers is that he was charismatic, that he was good looking, that people
And
had a
smart.
hard time believing him to be the monster that he was. So I
Nonetheless.
think that the movie sort of reflects that.
I get very scared, but, you know, he's also really dreamy.
Well, the summer movie season is upon us, and that means lots of different types of films are coming your way over the next few months. So we're going to take a look at what we think are going to be the good, the bad, and the most profitable. Here's a look at a few.
Now I long for yesterday.
When did you write that?
I didn't write it. Paul McCartney wrote it. The Beatles.
Who?
It's a simple extraction. We go into space, we get the astronauts, we bring them home. Any questions?
Yeah, like 1,000.
We don't have time for 1,000.
Doing space missions now. Cool.
Let's go.
You're wrong.
Dead wrong. Help me get out of here.
I'll help you.
With my foot to infinity and my foot. Boom! In the vacuum of space, they cannot hear you scream.
Ho!
Let go of me.
We watched a Rick Dalton double feature. All the shooting. I love that stuff, you know, the killing.
A lot of killing.
Chris, hit me with a movie that you're looking forward to this summer.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This
Yay!
is Quentin Tarantino's latest movie, his first since Hateful Eight, which is not a movie I loved, but every time he gets up there, it's an event. So I'm really looking forward to this. It's the 60s in LA, Sharon Tate, Charles Manson, Hollywood at the time. It really, I think it's going to be a big canvas epic.
Yeah, I'm with you. And Tarantino says it's supposed to most closely resemble his movie Pulp Fiction. So we'll see. We'll see.
Those are big shoes to fill.
Yeah, I know. Okay, Bill, what are you most looking forward to?
Well, I have to say Toy Story 4, because the Toy Story category and franchise is one of the few that gets better and better. Like Toy Story 3, I defy anyone not to cry at the end of. So now we're back and we've got a new character called Forky, and so I'm just really thrilled and looking forward to this.
Yeah, I'm with you. The bar is set so high that hopefully it'll live up to expectations. Lisa, what are you looking forward to?
Late Night. Mindy Kaling wrote this Sundance hit. She plays the new woman who's introduced to an all-male writer's room of a late night TV's only female host, played by Emma Thompson. The buzz for this is off the charts, but I have to say the big news for me is Emma Thompson, who I just love when she goes off the reservation. And in all the trailers, she has a buzz cut, and she's zinging one-liners, and she just looks like she's been let off the leash big time.
Well, you were telling me something about that, about her in the real-life writer's room experience or something?
Yeah, they did a lot of research on this, and Mindy is sort of brought in to like bump it up and make her relevant again, and they come up with some really credible-looking gags that I think I'm looking forward to this.
This is actually Mindy Kaling's real-life story, too, in the sense that that's how she made her name, is she was a TV writer first.
Yeah, I love late night
Milieu,
like
yeah.
Larry Sanders, that kind of stuff. Okay, I'm looking forward to a movie called Yesterday, which I actually saw at the world premiere at the Tribeca Film Festival at the end of April. And this is an amazing premise. First of all, it's written by Richard Curtis from Love Actually and directed by Danny Boyle, Slumdog Millionaire. And follow me on this. A guy through some crazy
we always
wakes up in a world where the Beatles don't exist. And he's a mediocre singer-songwriter who's getting nowhere. So he's the only one that remembers the Beatles.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes. I'm just listening to Jack's new song.
So he takes credits for all the songs, and of course, it's the greatest songs in the world. He's heralded as a genius and becomes an overnight, sensation. And it's really sweet and funny and romantic.
I don't know how you like this guy when he's ripping off the Beatles for the whole movie as
Watch
the audience.
the movie.
I'm really curious to see how that gets
Watch
handled.
the movie and you'll see. All right, Chris, hit me with another movie that you're looking forward to.
So there's a little independent horror movie called Midsommar, which is directed by Ari Aster, who directed Hereditary recently, and that was a great little horror movie. I think this is going to be a great little horror movie too. It's about a couple and a group of friends who go to Sweden for this folk festival, and it looks like it has a real Wicker Man vibe, this sort of folklore horror, and it looks pretty chilling. I'm really looking forward to it.
The trailer is so deliciously creepy.
Yeah,
I got
totally
so
creepy.
freaked out.
The
I'm
trailer
excited.
looks really cool.
Psyched.
Bill, what do you got?
Jim Jarmusch is giving us a zomcom, a zombie rom-com called The Dead Don't Die. This has got, now I'm a little nervous about it because I heard from Cannes it wasn't spectacular, but how can you go wrong with Bill Murray, Adam Driver, Tilda Swinton, and Danny Glover? Even if it's not great, they'll go get coffee and cigarettes.
The trailer looks hilarious on this. And I mean, I love Jim Jarmusch. He's funny. I mean, back to this first movie, Stranger Than Paradise, and Down by Law and Night on Earth, the guy really knows how to, and the trailer is making me laugh. Okay, what do you got? Give me another one, Lisa.
I'm actually interested in this movie called The Farewell. The fantastic comic Awkwafina is doing an unusual serious term in this. She's a member of a Chinese-American family that essentially just keeps the grandmother's terminal cancer diagnosis from her. It sounds dour, but just the premise of it, they say it's based on a true lie, intrigues me.
And you had another one that you were looking forward to, too.
Oh, Where'd You Go, Bernadette? This is the newest from Richard Linklater, hands down one of my favorite living directors. It stars the swoony Kate Blanchett as a misanthropic agoraphobe who suddenly goes missing and her family freaks out. It's also got Kristen Wiig and Billy Crudup and Judy Greer. I mean, amazing cast.
I think it's been laying around for a little while, though, so I'm
yeah,
worried about it. I'm a little nervous, but I watched the trailer for this, and it does look really cool.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to a movie called Dark Phoenix, which is another X-Men film. And I'm not, if you know, I'm not a big comic book superhero guy, but I like the X-Men films. They're intelligent movies, and this is the backstory on Jean Grey. And returning to the series are James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender and Jennifer Lawrence. And if you're a fan of the series, this looks very good, so I'm actually looking forward to it. So let's move on, and what do you think will be the, we talked about what we're looking forward to. What do you guys think will be the biggest money maker at the box office this summer?
Booksmart, absolutely. Neil. You're dead wrong. It's going to clean up. I hope so.
I think Lion King is going to rake it in, actually.
You love Lion King.
I love Lion King, and it's much anticipated. People love the original. It's a photorealistic remake of the beloved animation. And I mean, the cast is nuts. It's Donald Glover. Hello, Beyonce. James Earl Jones.
He's back. He's back as Mufasa.
I know. Seth Rogen. Jon Favreau, who's directed a lot of major movies at the box office, is directing here. I think that's a mic drop right there.
I mean, if it looks as good as Jungle Book, and I think it's going to look even better, then this is going to, I think, overtake Titanic.
Oh yeah.
Oh come on! You think that? Chris? This is,
I think it'll be huge.
You think it's going to be the biggest moneymaker of the summer?
If not the biggest, then top 3 for sure.
Well, I don't know. I think that Toy Story 4 has a shot because Lion King, as good as it looks, it's not original content. And Toy Story 4, as you mentioned earlier, Bill, those Toy Story movies, I cried also at the end of Toy Story 3. If it lives up to expectation and it's great, I think that that's going to have legs and just keep going.
If Neil cries, it will make money.
But Lion King, look, Lion King's going to make a boatload of money too. What do you think is going to make a lot of money also this summer?
This is not a movie I'm looking forward to, but that's not the question. The question is what's going to make money? And I'm going to say Hobbs and Shaw, which is a spin-off of the Fast and Furious franchise with Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham. I'm not the biggest fan of this series. There are some that I like, there are some that I don't like. this one feels like it's going to be a big money maker.
Well, I think it is going to be a big money maker, and I'm also not looking forward to it. And Lisa, which brings us to, what are you least looking forward to this summer?
I'm
and
laughing.
Lisa's shaking her head, laughing over here.
I'm laughing because Neil asked us to come up with this list beforehand, and the truth is that was on my least looking forward to list. Like, we really need another movie, another crash and burner in this category.
Well,
Thank you, no.
Yes, I'm with you. That is the movie I am, out of these blockbuster things, that's the movie I'm least looking forward
Thank
to this
you,
summer
no.
also, is Hobbs and Shaw. Because I could care less about this Fast and Furious
Oh my God.
franchise.
Hate it.
It's going to make money, and this is a spin-off.
It's like instant migraine for me.
What do you
I'll give you another franchise that I'm not looking forward to seeing. This is the new Child's Play. Now, I like Aubrey Plaza, and I think she could breathe some new life into this, but otherwise, I'm sorry. I'm ready to up Chucky. I'm done with it.
And there's a Marvel one you told me.
Yeah, I'm not, the new Spider-Man movie. I'm just a little Spider-Man'd out. I feel like we've had basically one of these every year since Tobey Maguire came out.
An animated one just won an Oscar.
That's right, and I don't think you're going to top that with this. But as much as I like the kid who's playing Spider-Man now, I'm a little fatigued with this whole character.
Bill, anything else you are not looking forward to here?
Well, speaking of somebody we don't need to see again, it's Adam Sandler. This time he's with Jennifer Aniston in something called Murder Mystery. It's a mystery how this guy keeps getting money from Netflix to
That
make
is a mystery.
movies. Yeah, it's like.
Yeah, but I
don't
got to
need
tell
see
you,
it.
I saw the trailer. They've both, Aniston and Sandler, have had their fair share of flops.
One funny gag where she jumps into a Ferrari and it's right-hand drive instead of left-hand drive.
In the trailer,
That's it.
Listen, it looks funny, and for a Netflix movie, it's not theatrically released. I'd say, check it out.
And knowing you, you'll cry at the end.
Well, that's about all the time we have. I want to thank my panel, Chris Nashawaty, Lisa Rosman, Bill McCuddy. I'm Neil Rosen. Join us next time on Talking Pictures.